Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. We're going back to the offset drilling jig, and we're going to test a theory that was brought to my attention by one of my subscribers, Rung Fu Capers. And he asks, could you use a 1/4 inch spacer in the jaws to create the same offset? Just wondering, as it would almost eliminate the dial work. And so we're going to test that theory. I've got the same 2-inch piece of stock, and I've marked the center with a Sharpie, so hopefully you can see it. And then I'm going to use a piece of 1/4 inch high-speed steel as the spacer. So let's go over to the lathe and see if it works. All right, we're going to go ahead and test this theory. I've got my 2-inch stock and my 1/4 inch spacer. We'll tighten that down. We'll bring in the center in my tailstock. Now if I put the tip of my rule right on the tip of the center, you can see that the center of the work is just shy of 3/16 of an inch off center. So the theory of putting a 1/4 inch spacer along with the stock in the 3 jaw to move it over 1/4 of an inch does not work. So you'll actually need a spacer larger than 1/4 of an inch to move the stock over 1/4 of an inch. So let's head over to the computer. I'll model this in Fusion 360 and we'll figure out just how much space we need to move this over 1/4 of an inch. All right, we're here in Fusion 360 and we're going to figure out exactly what it's going to take to offset a 2-inch piece of stock in the 3-jaw chuck by 1/4 of an inch. The first thing we're going to do is model our chuck jaws, and I'm going to do that just using a line to represent those. Now this point where this red and green axis intersect, that is going to be the center line of our lathe. And the red line is going to be our chuck jaw that holds our shim stock. Now I'll get rid of all these measurements so that they're not in our way. Now, as I said, that this jaw is the one that's holding our stock, so our offset needs to be in this direction. So we're going to use a circle tool to model our stock, which is 2 inches. And then we'll offset it from the origin by the 1/4 of an inch that we need. Now, since the shim stock is here, that means that this jaw and this jaw are the two that are going to be actually clamped down on our workpiece. This one is clamped down on the shim stock. So we're going to take the circle tool, starting at the origin, and we're going to run up along this jaw line up to where it intersects our workpiece. Just like that. Now this distance from here to here, that is going to be how much shim we need. And we'll measure that. Oh, first I need to draw a line from there to there. And then we'll inspect it. So 0.3513 is the size shim we need to offset a 2-inch stock in the 3-jaw by 1/4 of an inch. So let's head back down to the basement. I'll set up some feeler gauges to match this dimension and we'll test it out. Alright, I've got a stack of feeler gauges that matches our measurement. So we'll stick our stock in along with our stack of feeler gauges. Bring our center back in, then measure from the center point to the center of our stock. As you can see, it's a 1/4 of an inch. So that'll do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.